it almost felt, I don't want to say fitting, it felt like something, Phil, of like all the buildup of how much we talked about this coming into the show and been like, that's probably, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. And then they do that. And then it's like, oh, it's exactly how we kind of figured it would go. Like, what were y'all thinking?
Yeah, I was thinking that during the match of how much of this were we prepared to not like it, because the whole time we've been like, I don't want this match.
Man, I want it.
And so I was trying to watch it with an open mind, and just the more it went on, I was like, no, this ain't
Like
it.
I said, we tried
This
as
ain't
a
it.
crowd to give it a chance. Like Moxley came down, we're excited. We sang the Cope song, like you guys all saw. We wanted to give this match a chance, and they had a chance to do something to get us interested in. But as soon as I saw Christian come down with the hood, I was like, this match is gonna die a horrible death.
Yeah. Which, speaking of getting to the end, on this day, I see clearly that Swerve is the guy.
Listen, okay, so the match is happening. Like, while the match is happening, people are distracted. I'm talking to Jess and Alex. Shout out to my homies. Like, we're just out of here. One, two, three, or he taps him out. It's all over. And so we're just like getting ready to go, chilling there. And I see like this figure out, like not on the screen, just like in the crowd. I'm like, damn, that looks kind of dope. Who is that? And then they're like, oh, it's Swerve. And so when they shot the Swerve, Phil, and he looks like a fucking superhero, like the savior of this company. It was like, oh, that's the guy. Then he does the big stomp, lands on his feet, and you're like, oh shit, this is the guy. Then he poses, and you're like, this is the guy. Then he gets in the ring, and you're like, this is the guy. I'm like, okay, I guess if any shining light out of this, because I guess we didn't mention, but you guys know, Swerve won the match earlier, and that was to determine the number one contender for the AEW World Champion at Dynasty. And so Swerve came at the end of the night, Phil, and I was like, again, make this guy the champion.
Yes. This main event, the whole Cope Christian stuff, it felt like a downer. Getting to the end of this, knowing that Swerve was the number one contender, and Mox is going through the tunnel going into the back, and you see Nana, and I was like, oh wait, and then the camera goes up and Swerve is perched up there like Batman or something. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh shit, and then he comes down and does that great stomp that he's done, the callback to the Joe feud and all the stuff ahead of Dynasty, and that's how the night ends, closes on him doing his pose. I was like, bro,
Hard.
that was a great ending. That
Mm-hmm.
totally salvaged the ending of this show for me, and that made me excited for Dynasty at the very least. But I don't see how anyone at home or backstage could be watching this and not see we got to pull the trigger. We got to put that belt back on Swerve, dog. Like, he was getting the loudest reactions throughout the show. When you look at, like, even just talk about the celebrities being there, and the celebrities being there and it's attached to him. Michael Cooper cheering for him. Leslie Jones cheering for him. The crowd was loud for him throughout the show. Like,
Jay Farrow's in there cheering for him. Like everybody's cheering for Swerve.
yes, the reaction with the robe stuff at the end, bro. One of the loudest reactions of the night. When he came and showed up at the end, that crowd got loud, bro. It's not just that I feel like you've got to pivot from this Mox Death Rider stuff because it's not working, but with the storyline you have, and the entire time Mox has been like, I'm waiting for someone to step up. And what you built before he became champion with the Dynasty era, put that belt back on Swerve, dog.
Put a belt on Swerve. I went to 3 California shows this month, and before every show, it was exactly the same in Fresno this week. Whose house? People are trying to get that thing going. They're trying, like everybody's trying to get their whose house in. The whole thing. I see shirts. Everybody in the crowd is telling these people, this is who we want, Bill. They showed us again on Sunday. Huge pop when he came out. They keep telling them, this is who we want. Now, are they listening? That's a different story for another day.
I'm worried
Yeah.
because coming out of
I don't
this,
know if they're listening.
I'm worried because coming out of this, I thought it was very obvious that that should be the call with the reaction, with even the online response to this main event, the online response to Swerve. I feel like it's pretty obvious what you need to do. when we got to Wednesday and Jay White was doing this stuff backstage, and Jay White was like, if I'm not number one contender, nobody should be. And I was like, no, don't do this to me. It sure feels like this is going to lead to Jay White doing something in this feud, whether he interferes in the street fight next week or something, whether he turns on Copeland. Dog, I don't care. Have him feud with Cope moving forward. Do not do an interference angle in this Swerve Mox match and have Swerve lose. Don't do this, please.
You know, they want to, Phil. They like that bloodline shit. They want to so bad.
Don't do this. And I mean, this goes back to last year, and I mean, this was very polarizing because we were sitting here the whole time like, hey, I get it. Put the belt on Bryan, give him his big moment in his last year as a full-time competitor. But there were a lot of people that were not done with Swerve as champion.
Facts.
And man, I don't see it, man. I don't see how you can't see right now that that's the move to put the belt back on Swerve. You got to. And I know, the story seems like it's been leading back to Darby. I don't think you can wait till Darby comes back. Mm-mm. And even outside of the Darby stuff, coming out of this pay-per-view, it feels like there are at least 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 guys that could conceivably beat Mox before then. And right now, with how popular this guy has been, right now with how this guy has had the Midas touch with every feud he's got in, it's Swerve, dog. You got to put the belt back on him.
Swerve Strickland, man. Seeing the end of that show and how people reacted and how people keep reacting, I'm like, oh, they got one. But they don't just got one, because we just had a fucking 15-minute conversation on how Will Ospreay could also be the same thing. Like, you guys got some fire in a bottle. The beginning of the Revolution, Hangman Adam Page could also be like, there's places that you can go that will be where people want you to get to, but we can't wait till Darby. We can't. That's just like, that's not happen. And especially after this main event this week. And then Philip Lindsay, I'm sitting there at fucking Dynamite in Fresno, and they're like, oh, next week we're actually doing a rematch of Jon Moxley and Adam Copeland for the World Championship. And I'm like, what? You saw the online backlash and said, let's do a rematch?
Well, at least the good thing about that is it feels like they're not going to try and do this as a pay-per-view match. At least this tells me that they know, don't do a rematch to this on a pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, knock this out on TV, and move on to the next challenger.
Yeah, but why though? I'm still quite like, what is this to do the Jay White thing? Because I'm like, I don't know what the point of this is. Because Moxley's gonna win. Like, where are you doing this?
The only thing I can figure is you're trying to knock this feud out with Cope
for good. Okay, I can get with that.
And it kind of feels like they're trying to keep this feud, well, at least keep the belt on him until All In. I think that's a mistake. I think waiting till July, that's too long. I think you've got to. I think you've got to blow this thing up, man. It's not working. It's not working.
We're still in March, and Dynasty's a few weeks away too. Like, come on, dog. We gotta.
Yeah. No, I think you've got to pivot, and I've been saying that for a while, but it could not be more clearer in the last 2 or 3 weeks that it should be Swerve that beats him.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's the best part I think we established out of this whole thing.